official. Judge Ketanji Jackson will now serve as the next Supreme Court justice, becoming the first African-American woman to sit on the high court. What a great day. And a vote 53 to 47. And joining me to talk about this historic moment is Senior White House Advisor Cedric Richmond. How are you doing? How are you feeling, really?
Well, it's a great day. And I just will say that the judge's performance throughout these hearings, the way she conducted herself, the poise, the grace, the style, the perseverance, the courage, has just been, I think, just the quintessential example of a strong, brilliant woman. So we're excited that it's over, and it was bipartisan, which she deserved. But and now we take a moment to celebrate making history, and then we go back to work tomorrow.
Put into perspective how historic this moment is.
It's very historic. I think there's been 113 Supreme Court justices over 233 years. And the voice that's been missing for all of that time has been the voice of a Black woman. And we know that the role that Black women play in our society, and we know they have to work twice as hard. We know they do twice as much. And if you're going to have a court with people with lived experiences, how could you ignore that lived experience? And so we were just ecstatic to be able to fill that void.
Part of that moment was also watching Vice President Kamala Harris announce the vote. Like, seeing that at the same time just kind of did something to your side. There's so much at play. And you also talked about the women that came forth, organizations to help push this, support her, and back her up, because she faced an onslaught of attacks from Republicans.
She did, and watching the vice president call out the vote and to see that moment is one of those things where you have to stop and acknowledge the progress, but you still have a lot more work to do. And as the vice president shattered a glass ceiling, so that Judge Jackson, but we have more to shatter. We have more work to do for equity. And this administration, we've been intentional about it. The one thing I would like to highlight is that the president's been very intentional about putting Black women on the appellate courts.
I was going to ask you directly about that, because in the face of this moment, there have been rumblings about another phase of obstruction that may be coming in the works from Republicans if they take the Senate. And so I was asking, has there been enough attention paid to the president's success in these judicial appointments?
I'm not sure, but in the first year, President Biden and Vice President Harris put more judges on the bench than any other president in American history except John F. Kennedy, and he beat it by a couple. But listen to this stat. He put more Black women on the appellate court in 12 months than all other presidents combined. And so that's what it looks like when you're intentional about addressing historic wrongs. And so we've been doing it. We're going to continue to do it. The leadership there, if you look at his cabinet, the most diverse cabinet in the history. And if you look at having an HBCU graduate as vice president, has been a real asset for this administration. So all I can say is today we're very, very proud of Judge Jackson. And I personally am proud of the president, my friend, for having the vision and the courage to do exactly what he wanted to do, and that was to fill this void that has existed for too long.
Do you think that this will help build the case for a more robust midterm turnout amongst Democrats and independents?
Well, I'm not necessarily sure about that. We will see how this plays out, but I'll just tell you that this was about not just making history, but we put somebody on the court who's a brilliant legal scholar who's going to write dissents and opinions that will be for now and the future. And if we look at most of the rights that we gained during the civil rights movement, a lot of it was done through the courts and the Supreme Court. And that's why it's important to have that voice. And, speaking about past elections, it also shows that elections have consequences.
Yeah.
This would not have been done under any other administration. It wouldn't have been done if people didn't have the House and the Senate. But this is what happens when, a president gets the ability to exercise his authority to fill a seat on the Supreme Court.
Those are, who many people have been saying and repeating it. And then I kind of shriek back when they say having her there doesn't necessarily change the balance of the court, but her voice is still necessary because she'll be a part of decisions that are involving voting rights, redistricting, and so many others. And the death penalty and the opinions that she writes will also be very important.
Absolutely. She's going to be a strong voice on that court. She is one of the most prepared to ever go to the Supreme Court. We're excited about her talents and her character. And so we believe that she is going to do exactly what Dr. King said when he said, give us the ballot and we'll put judges on the benches of the South that will do justice and love mercy. And we think that's exactly what she's going to do. And we can't wait to see it.
Lastly, just kind of walk us through what happens next. She's still on the bench. Is she stepping down? Because we have to wait until Justice Breyer actually steps down to, I'm still calling her justice, but for her to assume the position, what's going to be happening now?
Well, future Associate Justice Jackson will stay and remain on the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals, but she will continue to recuse herself from cases just like she did while the nomination was pending until the end of the Supreme Court session when Justice Breyer's retirement takes effect. Then she'll be sworn in as an Associate Justice to the Supreme Court.
Thank you, Mr. Richmond. Thank you for coming on AURN, and we always would love to welcome you back.
Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.